Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with the Mayor and City Manager. I'm Mayor Cal Sheehy. I'm so glad to have you, joined by City Manager Jessica Knutson.
Happy Friday.
Yes, welcome, and thank you for joining us. It's Friday, October 3rd, and we're excited to share with you so many great things that are happening and going on here in Lake Havasu City. So we'll start with the Waterfront Project, which just had its first public hearing in front of our Planning and Zoning Commission on Wednesday. It also was featured on the front page of today's News Herald as well. It is a large development on the island adjacent to the Nautical Beachfront Resort on the land that was previously the Nautical Golf Course. The golf course closed down about 6 years ago or so, and then the property was purchased in 2023 from the state of Arizona, the State Land Department, through a public process by Falcon Eye Ventures. And they have spent the last couple of years going through and having community meetings and working with their teams on things that could enhance that property. And that has all culminated with a public hearing on Wednesday, this October 1st, for its first hearing in front of the public to get feedback from the citizens and the Planning and Zoning Commission on that particular project. What is interesting about this project, and I'll let Jess talk a little bit about some of the details and what they're proposing, but in Lake Havasu City, all the way since the days of Mr. McCulloch in the late 60s and early 70s, everything was stick-built, one by one by one. So one home at a time, one business at a time, one bank at a time, one school at a time. This is going to be 89 or about 90 acres or so, all built at once. And because of the financial situation of the gentleman that purchased it, they don't need financing. So they're just going to come in and they'll build that project all at once. It's something that we've never experienced or seen before. Should obviously go through the approval process and get the proper approvals from the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council and meet design review from the city. But this project, because it was in the general plan, which we'll talk about as well this morning, it's a golf course. This is a major general plan amendment, and so it requires two hearings from there. And that was what the one on the first was, that just happened this past Wednesday. And then there's another one on November 5th in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission as well. That'll be right here in the council chambers at the courthouse. So if the public wants to engage at that time, they can. But the project is pretty exciting. It's the first time I went to both neighborhood meetings that were I held in March, I believe, March, April.
Right around that time frame, yeah.
And it was one of the first times that I would see the neighborhood or the neighbors, which generally it's just those that are within 300 feet of the property. But this development, because of the importance of it and significance to the city, they opened it up to the entire community. And so they had two different two different neighborhood meetings on that. But citizens were looking up at the boards and the proposed drawings and saying, oh, I don't know if that's enough parking, or I don't know if that wall's good, or it's too close to my property if you lived at the Nautical Estates. And they actually were making changes right there, saying, yeah, that's you're right. And what I read in the letter of intent was over 35% of the property is going to be open space. So shoreline access, a mainland boat launch facility, parking, and then green space otherwise. So Jess, I know you attended that hearing. I don't know if you have anything to add about the project and maybe what that might look like on the island in the future.
For sure. We can talk a little bit about that, but also maybe just take a giant step back as I read some of the comments on social media, the comments in the newspaper articles and things that are there, where the newspaper posts an article about, hey, this project is being proposed, and then the response is, oh, it's a done deal. I can't believe the city's doing this. It's like, hold on, because this is the very, very first steps that are taking place that instigate a community conversation and a neighborhood conversation about what we want as a community and with regards to this project. So everybody that's a property owner has the ability to apply to the city for certain things. If you want to rezone your property, if you want to do a major amendment or a minor amendment to the general plan, you go through an application process. So you literally apply. They're the property owner. They're applying with the city. They want to go through the process with the planning and zoning, and they want to go through the process ultimately through the citizens and to the city council, and in terms of what that looks like. So what we have right now is an application. It's an application to the city saying that they want to do two things, two separate applications. One, they want to amend the general plan because what's out there right now in terms of land use and the general plan designation, the broad categories, don't allow for the development that they're proposing. And the second application that they're submitting to the city for city review, which is all happening right now, is for a rezone. And in Lake Havasu City, we love planned development zoning. So instead of straight zoning, a planned development means we want to see the cutout and of the buildings and the shapes and what you're proposing. We want to see where's the hotel going to be located, where's the resort going to be at, where's the housing, retail, all those other things with your project. In some cases, you can have like a straight like C2 or commercial zoning, and then as long as you can do anything on that property you want, as long as it meets the definitions of what is allowed within that zoning category, without having to explain to the public or council or P&Z about what's happening there. So we're going through an application process, and I think that's important for everybody in the room, those listening at home, to understand that this is where the applicant, P&Z, council, everybody involved in this is soliciting input. I'll say one thing about the approach with these folks, which is very refreshing, is they came to the first Planning and Zoning Commission meeting with about 5 slides talking about we're listening, and they have 15 concessions. 15 concessions before they go to the first Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, which, to your point, the public meetings that were hosted, the conversations with the neighborhood, the condos that are right adjacent to that have enjoyed a really beautiful view for lots of years, and now this property has been purchased through state land and is about to be developed. They made concessions. They talked about like a one-time a 3-story apartment complex. They heard from the neighborhood and they said, okay, fine, two stories. The buffer between the development and the condo association, the property line is right in these folks' backyard. So they heard from them and they're building them a park. So there's things that are happening through this process, and I'm not lobbying for them. But I'm just saying that there are ways for the community, for the neighborhood to provide input on this project. Will it ultimately be approved? Who knows? Maybe maybe it's denied at the P&Z level. Maybe it's denied at the city council level. Maybe it's approved at either one or both of those levels. But I just want to stress the importance right now of what's happening in terms of the ability for the public to provide your input on this project, because they truly are. And I can't say that about all applications that come before the city, but they are listening. About 90 acres. There is some, they're talking about a grocer, gas station, some retail right off of the main roadway there, and then some townhomes and apartment complex or multifamily. And then we're looking at some residential homes throughout the area. A large resort piece is what they're talking about. We haven't heard any names of what that looks like, but it sounds like they're swinging for the fences on that one. A new ramp that would be open to the public, but similar to what we have on the island right now. I'm sure there'll obviously be a charge for the launch. It won't be a Site 6 as the city provides that, which will obviously remain. And so the resort, ramp, housing, multifamily, commercial, which right now it's a grocer, gas station, and some retail on that area. So that's what they're proposing. The video is online. Go check it out. There was a presentation that was made, lots of good questions, a lot of good public comment that took place through that meeting. So right now, our goal as the city is to highlight everything in their application and generate as much conversation and questions that we can about the project. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, so for about the next 90 days or so, through up to about the first of the year, we'll be having these conversations. You know, the public hearing that occurred this week, the one on November 5th, and whatever that recommendation is, will still go in front of the city council. So we'll be talking about it for a while. So talk with your friends and family and reach out to the applicant if you have any suggestions. As part of that retail component, there'll be some new eateries or restaurant type experiences there as well for the folks on the island and otherwise. So it's something that we, again, have not seen in Lake Havasu City before. So we need to be diligent on it and make sure all the questions are answered. And then obviously it'll go through that process that started this week.
I can add to the conversation a little bit about this one is they're seeking Island Body Beach zoning classification for that area. One of the requirements in that zoning classification through the city's process is a 15-foot public access along the shoreline. So that's something that's in the proposal right there. And right now, if you go on that property, if you haven't been there for a while or need a refresher, there's cliffs, right? So you're not looking at typical shoreline access in terms of what looks like on the other side of the island at that beach or otherwise. But there are folks that come in, whether you're kayakers or jet skiers or
That
what it looks like on the shoreline side. So there is a preservation of 15 feet of public access. That's an easement that they have to record with the county. That's perpetual for that property, no matter who buys the property in the future. So that's a public future. So that's a deed restriction, if you will. It goes with the deed. So that's important on that. That's lots of conversations. Not sure about access, and the council. You're committed. The council's very much committed. I'm committed. The team's committed. We're all committed. Not institutionalized, but committed to making sure that there's a honest, proactive, aggressive effort to preserve the shoreline access in Lake Havasu City. And if we're going to talk about future land areas, Body Beach, a gem in Havasu that needs to remain in the condition that it is right now. Conversations on waterfront, have conversations with mayor, the team, about not just that property, but remember, this all started because state land auctions off property to maximize the dollars that they receive, and then take those dollars and put them towards schools in Arizona. There's other beneficiaries, but primarily for schools. This property was appraised at like $8 million, sold to this team for $24 million. What does that? And so state land goes, wow, we're making a lot of money on properties and auctions in Lake Havasu City. We saw another auction a couple months ago on the north side, just north of our municipal boundary. So very proactive in state land is being in terms of the auction process. Out by the foothills, another section is an applicant is pulled that paperwork to trigger the auction process. But going back to shoreline access, if that continues, what can the city do now? What can we be thinking about now for the other side of the island? That's all state land. And that's going to go to auction. I don't know if that's going to happen in the next 30 days or 30 years, but I think it's going to be sooner than later based on what we're seeing in terms of trends. But what can the city do now to make sure that we can continue the culture and traditions and history in Havasu, where we have access to areas throughout the community? We have young families that take their kids on a weekend and be able to take a cooler and a couple sandwiches and sodas and get out there and enjoy the water. And it can't be sold to the highest bidder, right? And so that is something that we're talking about, that we're resolute in that regard. And so we get an application for waterfront. We're thinking about that project. We're also thinking about what state land's up to. What's the other side of the island going to look like? What's happening in the rest of our community? And how do we hold on to some of that history?
Yeah, we've had lots of conversations with the state land commissioner about the priorities in Lake Havasu, and shoreline preservation is top of mind. The city council did a resolution for shoreline preservation about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now, just to show and recommit. The rest of the land on the island is on the Island Body Beach zoning designation. So we know for a minimum we have the 15 feet, but as just said, we're working to secure even more. We need to ensure that our citizens for generations to come have access to that shoreline and access that's meaningful, that they can actually get out there, use it, and experience it in the ways that so many of us grew up on from the generations before. So it's top of mind, and we'll continue to stay focused on that. But please follow this project throughout its process, and we'll see where we come out after it goes through all of those things. While we're talking about the waterfront, let's talk a little bit about the general plan. So the general plan, we've talked about it several times, but it's the overarching planning document for Lake Havasu City and communities across Arizona. But it takes land use planning for a community. It's required to be updated every 10 years by state statute. The last time that we did this was approved in 2016, so we're aiming for 2026. And the process takes about 18 months. It's a really intensive public engagement process where we have a steering committee that is made up of citizens from across all walks of life here in Lake Havasu City. They applied for that that position. There's approximately 15 members of the steering committee, 13 maybe.
Yeah, of course, 15 is the number that's in my head.
Yeah.
So we're close.
Yeah, Emilio is one of them who was with us this morning.
Yeah.
So we do have several members on the steering committee. We also have a TAC, a Technical Advisory Committee. That's made up largely of subject matter experts, so folks from the airport, roads, public safety, those types of folks. So those comments are
Planners,
put in.
engineers.
Yeah, all of the components of the people that this is what they do for a living. There's that group. There's the citizens at large, so all of us. And then there's a lot of public hearings. And so we've already had several of them where we've broken the process up into 5 different phases. We're just at the top of phase 3. And so we will be having 2 more public hearings later on this month. It'll be on October 29th and October 30th at 1:30 on the 29th, 11:30 on the 30th. It's on our website. It's a come and go kind of mixer style. So it's not going to be where you come and there'll be a presentation. Come at your own time within that time frame. Share your feedback. Talk to the experts. Talk to the planning team from Lake Havasu City, as well as the consultant that we have hired to assist us with this process. And so what this process will do at the end of the day is it's going to set the future of Lake Havasu City's land use planning for at least the next decade, but obviously decades beyond that, because what we do today is going to be meaningful into the future. The process will go through, once all of this is done, all the public input's in, there's 17 different touch points by statute that we have to touch on. Once all of those are designed and developed based on the citizen feedback, it will go in front of our Planning and Zoning Commission for a recommendation to the City Council. And then from there, it'll go to the City Council for hopefully approval after we've gone through this really lengthy process. And then we still have to send it to the general election ballot in November of 2026 to be ratified by the voters. And so the voters then have to vote on it, which is the same process that occurred in 2016. Generally they pass because they are so intensive with public input and public engagement. You may see our planning teams at different events throughout the fall season. I'm sure you saw them at some of the events in the spring season prior to this, just to ensure that we're engaging with all different groups and users within Lake Havasu City to ensure all voices are heard. We encourage you to get involved at any level you want. So attend the public hearings, attend the outreaches, go online and just fill out a survey, email the planning department your thoughts. I mean, all sorts of different ways you can get involved. And they take all of the information and they bring it all together and then they include it in the final presentation of what that may be. But the general plan is a really important process when we have citizens say, I can't believe they're doing this, or why don't we have that, or how come this happened, or the general plan is your opportunity to get involved to help shape what the future will be based on the land uses that are available. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that process, Jess.
No, we're going to continue to talk about it between now and November of next year. And I'm thinking about 6 months time frame, we'll have a draft plan, I believe, 6 to 7 months, about a draft plan to share with the community. And in the meantime, it's truly I call it the people's plan. That's truly the goal of what we're trying to accomplish here, reaching out to as many folks as we can, get as much input as we can, and then the end result will be this plan.
So again, the October dates, you can go to our website, lhcaz.gov. All of the information about the general plan's there. You can get up to date on the work that's been done in phase 1 and phase 2. And then start engaging in this phase 3 of the 5 phases that it's broken down into, or wait till phase 5 too. Either way, anyway, just get involved. Let us know what you're thinking. It's your plan, and it can only be your plan if you get involved in that plan. So we have a lot of construction work going on throughout the city. So let's start with the stoplight at Jamaica and McCulloch. The work has already started in that process. That is, of course, in the upper area of our community. It's going to be a really good project, especially for the families and commuters in the morning and during school hours. For all the people that live on the south side and they have to get their children over to the high school, and then all the folks that live on the north side need to get their children over to the middle school or to Jamaica or Starline Elementary. They're going to really love this new stoplight. But the work is happening, and do we know about how long it's going to take until it's actually working?
So ADOT, it's an ADOT project. ADOT is the project manager. They're the one who's contracted with the contractor to complete it, and they're responsible for all oversight. Obviously, from the city's perspective, there's a right-of-way permit, and then there's some, and we're overseeing some of that process. But I think ADOT has told us they're looking at December.
Okay.
For that completion. So I drive by and I see little changes here and there, but it's like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, was it last week? Time flies. I can't believe it's October already, but I think it was just last week when they poured those curbs. And my phone's buzzing already. I'm like, we pour a little concrete in Havasu and it's getting to me. So I drove out there, and there's some curb cuts, the way they put them. The slope is way off. Look like ADA compliant curbs that are about a foot and a half. Now, there's going to be some asphalt that's placed that lessens that gap, but they're going to have to be, there's some work that ADOT needs to do, working with the contractor to rectify that. So we need full compliance when it comes to ADA and making sure those curbs are perfect and serving our residents, pedestrians, as well as the motorists in the best possible way. So lots of work happening on that one. Some corrections happening in the field as we speak, but December is the time frame that ADOT told us that it would be completed.
Excellent. Yeah, it'll be a nice improvement for those that use that intersection on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. We also are getting ready to start the work on Jamaica. This will be a mill and fill road project where we take out the current road asphalt and then we put down new. This will be the area from around Saddleback down to, is it Peso down?
I always
around
forget.
The curve.
Yeah.
So it's basically
right down the curve off like Havasu Avenue.
Yes, yeah. So as you go down Jamaica, we'll be doing that. It's going to be a really great improvement once it's all done, but in the meantime, it's going to take a little bit of time while we're doing that. Not only will we be doing Jamaica, but we'll also be crossing over and doing our water main replacement project along Acoma.
Ooh, that's going to be fun.
Yes. So we've had some issues with the water main replacement program impacting motorists on the roads over the last several months, with Unisource doing their gas replacement on the other end of Acoma. But now we have the water main project, and we're doing this in anticipation of, in our CIP budget for next year, we have a mill and fill project for Acoma. But we want to get all of the underground utilities repaired, replaced before we do the road project on Acoma next year. So
incrementally throughout on Acoma. So if we can't delay you on Jamaica or the stoplight construction on McCulloch and Jamaica, we're going to try to get you on Acoma. So, so it's a big project, and it's something that I'm very grateful that we're able to get this accomplished. It's a much needed infrastructure replacement. But it's going to be inconvenience. So I need everybody to be thinking about what it's going to look like when it's all done. But from now, essentially through April, there's going to be work done on Acoma in terms of the main line replacements. We're not replacing the entire main line throughout, but there's large sections that need to be replaced, and we're going to be going through that process. And like you indicated, Mayor, then once that's completed, we're going to come back next year and get you guys again with asphalt, fresh asphalt. And at that point, it'll be something that we can be very, very proud of. We'll have the infrastructure under the asphalt. We'll have brand new asphalt in that area. And so that's the goal. That's what we're looking towards, right?
Yeah, so we continue to make these investments into our infrastructure so that it's easier to get around our community, that the infrastructure can last, but we want to make sure that we're not putting down new roads and then we have to just go tear it up or we have a main break, right after we lay it down. And so that is what the goal is, but please be patient with us, and at the end it's going to be just as nice as 95 or just as nice as McCulloch or the Smoke Tree and Mesquite, all of the roads that we've been doing in the main area.
And what we're seeing on Jamaica right now.
Yes. Yeah, so good stuff to come. But again, please be patient with us as we work through that project. We're also working on the second bridge. At our last council meeting, we had a 30% update from our Public Works Department. There's a lot of work that's going into the second bridge, but just by way of background, the city of Lake Havasu City has talked about a second bridge access since the 1970s, since Mr. McCulloch initially was developing the community. And so over the years, we've planned accordingly to try and get right-of-ways on either side of the island, on the island side, and then of course on the mainland side. And we've been working towards that effort. And then a couple of years ago, Representative Biasucci with the state legislature really wanted to champion this project and was able to secure $35.5 million in funding to fund the second bridge. And so we were able to receive those funds. We have those funds, and now work then started to ensue in the actual construction documents and the final planning components of a bridge, which I'm not a bridge builder, but I think it should be easy. And then Jess is like, Hal, you're crazy. And so him and his
He's crazy.
team, him and his team are working hard. I'm like, it's not fast enough, but they are working on it. So Jess, you want to talk a little bit about what we learned and where we're at in the process?
Yeah, so we have we're at the 30% design that we have in place, which is very important, and then so it's 30% we work towards, and then we work towards 60%, and then 90 to 100%, and then obviously at that point we can start construction. But a lot of work goes into it in terms of soil testing and surveying and all the preparation work, the kind of the layout, the good work that's being done, because we still need assistance. We need partnerships with state land and state parks. If you're listening, we need you. And so those are we're building a bridge, and we've had plans over the years in terms of where that road network would go to connect the bridge, but we still need to finalize that process, working with state land and with state parks. At Windsor, beautiful park, lots of events hosted. So what can the city do to minimize the impacts of this bridge on that area and on that state park? And are there things that we could do that maybe enhance that area? Maybe connect that area to the channel. If we can get continue past Kingsview condos, and as far as the walkway, and connect that to the state park area, connect that to the bridge, which then can send you over and connect that to the Island Walking Bridge. So lots of good conversations that are occurring. We're talking about a bridge. We're talking about road network. We're talking about utilities, and we're trying to get those utilities, in particular the 48-inch sewer main underneath the channel, out of there, and locate that within the bridge itself, and then the intersections. So, and we brought the plan, and Jason Hart, one of our project managers, or our project manager on the project, one of the many folks that are working on it, kind of brought that plan, and the plan showed, some roundabouts. So, in large part, that conversation at council then was focused on the intersections or roundabouts, and then it was like, we like roundabouts or hate roundabouts. So there's a whole lot more work that's happening past the concept of just the intersections. But I brought that up now to say that these are conversations that are occurring, and what that looks like. We have three options in terms of what those intersections would look like. Is it a traffic signal? Is it a roundabout? And then we have what we're calling a stop sign option over there. So something far more minimal in terms of what that is. Again, for a little bit of history, we received $35.5 million from the state through the good work of Representative Leo Biasucci. We don't know if that's the number we need to complete the project. The ideas that we have in our heads is that if we bring the utilities out and do some other work over there, I think we're gonna exceed that dollar amount. But we need a bridge, we need a road network, and we need intersections at the bare minimum, and work towards the utilities that need to take place there as well too. So couldn't be happier with the team here on the city side, the design team, the construction team, all the good folks that are involved in our weekly and biweekly meetings that take place on the project. Lots of work, lots of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of pride that's going into this project. So we're hoping to get 60%, I believe, in early part of 26, which is just around the corner. And at that point, then we start soliciting actual bids or quotes coming from the subcontractors, and then have a much better idea of where we sit budget-wise.
Excellent. So when Jess says that we're having these conversations, that means we're having them with the public. And so, obviously the subject matter experts are having them from a technical standpoint, engineering standpoint, but, we talk about it in these forums, we have it during our public hearing in front of the city council to get feedback and understand what it is that we're doing and what makes sense for everybody. So there's been some fodder on social media about roundabouts, and I love them or I hate them. No decisions have been made. And so there's just some options right now as we're at the very early stages of the plans at 30%, but we do want to have conversations about what the options are so that we as a community understand the options, and then we make the best selection based on the options that are provided for.
As you start looking at the plans and what it looks like on the design side of connecting the bridge on the mainland side, right? So that's over off of by the Hampton Inn, and then connecting that and then going through the Windsor Park area, trying to hug the very edge of the border to have a minimal impact, and then connecting that roadway right onto London Bridge Road. And then we still have access we want to maintain to get into Windsor. So folks on London Bridge Road want to go continue north and south. They want to get into Windsor. They want to get on the bridge, and then they want to visit some of the local businesses and other establishments that are in that area. So that right there is a tricky intersection, right? And so we're trying to figure out the best way to design that in a way that makes traffic flow be the best. The engineers and some of the design team, there's intersection engineers out there that specialize just in intersections. And Lindsay did a presentation in front of council a couple months back to talk about that and propose a roundabout to service all those points of access. So there's a proposal. That's her perspective, but the community has to make some decisions on what that looks like. So, and we like to do that. We like to, if there's something happening with the project, we want to cut it out and bring it bring it to the council, bring it to the public, and say, hey, what do you think? And then we get called names, and no. but it's part of the process. That's all that is. It's part of the process. And what's the best from an engineering perspective? What's the best from a resident perspective?
And you go to our website and you can watch that council meeting from a few months ago where Lindsay made that presentation. They modeled out with 3D modeling what I think it was up to 80 feet of rigs, so like boat or RV, trailer, car being behind it.
Start thinking about these Desert Storm setups, like
exactly.
the huge trucks, the huge boats, and the modeling showed that that would work in that proposed solution.
Yes.
Or, draft solution.
Yeah, so if you have an interest in it, take a look. It was actually pretty interesting to me. I'm from Havasu, so I'm not really a roundabout person because we don't have any roundabouts, but to actually see how it worked, it was interesting. I don't know that it's the right solution. I don't know that it's the wrong solution, but at least it's worth having the conversation, and we have that modeling available for us to take a look at. So also at our last council meeting, we had a discussion about Main Street Commons. This is the area on McCulloch and Quario. This is what was the Downtown Calais project, the project that was brought due to the America's Best Community competition, where Lake Havasu City ended up being a $2 million grand prize winner, using some of those winnings and a lot of grant dollars. Prior to our discussion on last Tuesday, we had spent on everything that we've done on that project. It was around 10% was general fund money. The other 90% was all either grants or the ABC winnings for that. What the proposal was in front of us last week was to finish the shade. When we initially approved that in May of 2024, there were bathrooms included and there was full shade included.
Add alternates. So we had a base bid, and then we wanted to add alternates under there. So if we wanted to spend more than the base bid, which matched the outside dollars we got for the project, then how much would restrooms cost? How much would the shade, all the shade structures cost? And then we had a couple other things that were tied into that as well too. Maybe the pedestrian bridge was part of that too.
The pedestrian bridge was there. So we had options from a council perspective. We could award the entire project. We could do the project as we did, and then add alternates as just mentioned. We could do for like bathrooms and the pedestrian bridge and some of the other components. At that time, the council elected to do the base project, the base bid, because we had the confidence that we could do the bathrooms at a less expensive price. And so we did not include those on the original, knowing we would come back and take a look at that. So we did take a look at it. And then there was conversations with users and the community about having some sort of a multi-use concession type building with storage and a versatile space that users of this area could use when they're having their events. So, the space will be used for all of the things it was used for before. So craft fairs and Brats and Brews and First Friday will be moving there and all of these different things. But they have a special event liquor license, and as part of their fundraiser, they're selling beer in their beer garden. So now they'll be able to use this building that will be set up for it. It might be a space that you'll use as a concession or as a place where you're selling things, and you go there as the POS or to check out. Used differently for each user that may rent the facility or the space for different uses throughout the year that we experience. And then also finishing the shade. So what you currently see there, you see those poles that are sticking up throughout the property. There'll be shade in each of those. And as originally designed and presented in front of council maybe 2 years ago, the way that the engineers designed it is each of those shade areas are tilted at a certain area to maximize the optimal shade based on season and the way that the sun comes into that area. So we'll be finishing that. There was lots of discussion about it, lots of public input, but ultimately the council did pass to get the restrooms done, the concession, multi-use space, and then also finish the shade structures as well. So that'll all be forthcoming at this point.
It's an effort. It's kind of a prolonged effort, but when we first saw the contract come before council and look at the ad alternates and the costs associated, the instant reaction is we can do better in terms of cost on that project. So that's why you're seeing a project kind of in the works, right? That's evolving and what that looks like. The balance of the shade structures, we're getting those for a third of the cost that was in that contract. So that's saving. So a third. I mean, that's a big deal, and what that looks like. The original restroom that was proposed in that contract with Concord that was in front of the council had a restroom. The restroom concept was a storage container that they would plop down and then cover it with stucco, and we could do better. So for about the same price, where we have a block, a structured restroom that'll be put in place, something that needs to be there, that looks good, that's solid, that makes good use, and then the appropriate number of stalls for people that would be using that space for an event. So, and then the conversations with the concession building take place, and so that's the three things that are coming. I think the contract for the shade structures, that's a 90-day contract. For the construction of the concession and restrooms, from start to finish is we're looking about 5 months on that one. So some work will be coming.
So pretty excited to be able to finish that area and have it fully usable for the users that use that area, and excited to bring it to fruition. Yeah, when they first proposed those storage unit bathrooms down there, the public was not really that enthralled. Either was the council. So that was another reason why it was delayed. If we knew we could get it cheaper and we also could get the design that we would want or that would be acceptable, that would be a win for the community. And it also, we do know that these restrooms are not going to fulfill all of the needs of all of the users, like during Winterfest or Desert Storm or Relics and Rods Car Show. I mean, that volume's not going to be there. So you're still going to be seeing it augmented with porta potties to make sure that there's enough restroom facilities during those major events that occur in that downtown area. But this will be enough to suffice for the uses of just that space alone when it's having its variety of different events on there, but then also just daily users that are using it for a variety of different things. So I actually got my first complaint this week by email of competing uses of that area. And so
is that right?
It's being used. And so that tells me that people are using it and they're using it for different purposes. Obviously, if there was a conflict between them, but it's a space that we can all be proud of when it's all done.
And then to add, at that last council meeting, when those conversations took place, where we're talking about those two construction contracts. And just because we're not talking about other things at that council meeting doesn't mean that things aren't happening in the background in terms of the day-to-day operations of that facility. So like those restrooms. There's a care and a concern to make sure that they're not vandalized or inappropriate use of those restrooms. Most of us have it at our homes where we can control our Ring doorbells or different cameras or controls. So the locks will be programmed in a certain way that makes sure that they're available at the appropriate times and unavailable at the inappropriate times. We'll have position different areas to look out for vandalism in terms of security. We have our agreement with Allo to provide Wi-Fi for that space, which is really nice. And then there's some different lighting and potentially sound systems that might be introduced to that area, all to enhance the event aspect. So some things are happening in terms of the day-to-day stuff that because of the good people in our Parks Department, thanks to Gabby and Guy in particular, and all the things that they're working on that project. So, and Tim, yeah.
And I'd also like to, I'd be remiss if I didn't give some credit to James Gray, who is the president and CEO of the Partnership for Economic Development. He was the lead on the ABC competition. So he actually facilitated all of the components of the competition, but also has really championed the citizen-led projects that came out of the results of that, which is the nomadic co-working location space, which is just adjacent to the Main Street Commons, and then also facilitating First Friday and the work that is occurring in Main Street Commons. So he had a great vision, and the community came together and has followed it through. So a big thank you to James Gray for all of that work. We also have some work happening at Site 6. Former supervisor for District 3 of Mojave County, Buster Johnson, was able to work with us and provide grant dollars to redo the fishing dock at Site 6. The fishing dock is a very popular place for lots of our citizens to go out and recreate, but it is in a bit of disrepair. It's been out there for many decades, and it's time for us to redo it. So that fishing dock will be started, the work will be started very shortly, and it will be a completely new fishing dock that will last us for, again, decades to come. But as part of that process, we're going to have some closures at Site 6 while we're doing it. So the ramp will be closed for a period of time and not usable as we're staging the new components of the fishing dock. And then the fishing dock, of course, will be closed while we're doing that. Do you know when the work's beginning on that?
It'll be beginning, I believe, next week, I think is the time frame that's happened. So I'm getting some confirmation from the team. And so that's removal of the existing fishing dock, taking that away and putting a brand new dock in. So there's some aspects with what that looks like in terms of just weight and setting that, and then all the anchors that are needed to make sure that stays in place once it's there. Part of that process is going to include a crane in that area, which is going to force us to close down Site 6 for about 10 days. So I've asked, and I think I've been told, haven't been out there yet, but there's a message board out there with the dates. So everybody that uses that area regularly have been notified that the exact dates, but we'll be starting that next week in about 10 days is the thought that Site 6 ramp will be closed. But by the end of it, we'll have a brand new fishing dock in place and something to be very, very proud of.
Yeah, if you've ever been out there, you always see people out on that dock using it for different uses. So we're excited to do that. Yeah, we're also excited, or we're also grateful for Buster Johnson for working in partnership with us to allow this project to be completed.
So I got the text, October 6th is when the work starts. Thank you, Ellie.
Yeah, very quickly. Also on October 6th, Unisource Electric is having a hearing, it's actually Unisource Gas, is having a hearing in front of the Arizona Corporation Commission. They are similar to our electric bills that we saw increase last summer. They have a rate case in front of the Corporation Commission.
Are they asking to lower the bills?
Yeah, they're looking to do something real similar that they did to the electric bills. So not everyone in Lake Havasu City has gas, but for those that do have gas, if you want to weigh in, I would encourage you to go to the Corporation Commission's website and engage in that process. Let them know what the rates have done to your electric bills. Lake Havasu City has no control over the utility bills. The governor has no control over utility bills. The Attorney General, no control over utility bills. There's 5 elected statewide officials that we elect as residents of the state of Arizona on the Corporation Commission. It's a little known organization until your bills come, and then you're like, who are these people and what did they do to me? And it's too late by the time that occurs. So these rate cases take many, many, many months and sometimes years. And so if you don't follow it through, you get surprised with those bills that we got that happened to us last year. But if you want to weigh in on that, again, reach out to the Corporation Commission. It's on October 6th, so just next week, and let your voice be heard about the rate increase that Unisource is looking to do for gas, and learn about that process of why they're proposing it. So in Arizona, we have regulated monopolies for our utilities. That's one, to ensure we have utility services across the state in the regions, but they are responsible for electric, gas, water in certain areas like EPCOR. If you live in an EPCOR area here in and around Lake Havasu City, they regulate those water rates. All Lake Havasu City residents have our water, so we have municipal water, and the city council is responsible for that, and then Jess and his team for operating that system. But so if you have an interest in that and gas is going to be impactful to you, I would encourage you to reach out to the Arizona Corporation Commission and learn how you can engage in that meeting on the 6th of October. We also have a couple of training things, and then we're going to talk to you a little bit some training we've done with our team. Then we're going to talk about some really cool projects that are in the works, and we'll give you kind of a sneak peek on some of that. Then we're going to invite our fire marshal up to talk about some cool things about Fire Week, and then we'll answer your questions. So that'll be the rest of the time we have right here.
And then Nathan, you're looking about 10 or 15 minutes? Okay, all right.
Yeah, so we have our Havasu Residence Academy, which just started. Jerry Bracamani, our community engagement officer, is facilitating and leading this program. We had, actually the second meeting was just yesterday, so it's 6 weeks, is it?
Is it 6 weeks? 8 weeks?
8 weeks. Yeah, 8 weeks. An 8-week program every Thursday, and you had to apply to be a part of it. And it's our first cohort program, so it's a pilot program at this point. But we have over 25 folks that have signed up, and basically they're going through and they're learning about the entire operation of the city. So,
last night was Law and Order Day, so with a special guest with our clerk's office with Kelly Williams. So Kelly Williams talked about the functions of what happens in the clerk's office. The city attorney got up, and then our prosecutor got up and just talked about the civil, the criminal side of things, all the different cases that come through that office, all the different contracts that are touched. But they had a trivia night last night too. They're answering questions. And I think there was like 600 contracts that are touched each and every year by the city attorney's office. Just some really big, staggering numbers that come through. As Kelly Gary, our city attorney, she has a small but mighty department, and there's just a lot that goes through there. And then the judge, Judge Clawley, was there talking about the courthouse, and then his team presented some facts, and then a little tour of the courthouse. So kind of captured last night was just kind of capturing that piece of learning that side of the city's operations.
Yeah, the first session was the city manager's office, the mayor's office. Jill Olson, our administrative services director, responsible for customer service, finance, budget, IT. We'll have public safety, we'll have development services, public works, parks and recreation. All of the things that we do will be the citizens will be able to go through. So it was a really fun experience for me. I didn't attend last night, but I obviously attended the first night. Future cohorts, if you're interested, and that sounds like something that might be of interest for you, please apply. It seems to be very, very impactful for those that are attending, and it's a great way to get to know your city. One of the goals is just to create pride. Like Havasu City has always been known for the pride that our residents have, and when we have information, and this, especially in the world we're in right now, so much information is coming at us from so many different angles that it's hard to even decipher if the information we're receiving is true and truthful. And so this gives an opportunity for us to know where you can get the truthful information when it comes to the municipal government and how the operation actually works. So a great program, and again, we encourage you to get involved in future cohorts if you're interested. And then we also had the graduation for our Supervisor Excellence Academy. This is 2.0. This was the second year that we were able to do that. What the goal has been is that, in Lake Havasu City, we have mid-level managers or supervisors or people that are rising stars that might take on leadership roles in the future. But how do you bridge that gap to ensure that they have the supervisory skills necessary to complement their technical skills? And so we've worked in partnership with Mojave College and Arizona at Work to put together a program to provide those training essentials to now 2 cohorts of those team members in our organization that either find themselves in a position that they will be growing with the organization or have grown in the organization to ensure that they have the skills. It's a great program, and I know you were at the graduation, Jess. I don't know if you have any feedback to share with that.
No, I was really proud of that, and it's a year long. So 22 graduates through our Supervisor Academy, and we're selective in terms of the employees that are part of that program. They apply, the directors approve it. So these are individuals within the organization that are directors see something in them, that we want them to grow and be successful within the organization and be successful with providing services to our residents. So it's a big deal. And then we're selective in terms of making sure that we have a kind of a cross-section across all departments. Because one of the things we want to accomplish through that program is teaching them skills and then their different activities that increase their the tools and resources they have. But I need them to connect with each other. I need police to talk to parks. I need public works to talk to fire. I need the one team concept that I get to, that I push for as much as possible. We're one team working together to provide services for our residents, and so that Supervisor Academy is one tool that we use to go into that direction. So very, very proud of all the hard work and effort. Dr. Bobby Kimmelton is our HR director. She's put down a great foundation for that program. Corey, our HR manager in Bobby's office, is working very hard on that one. One of the activities they do is they need to look at their respective departments and come up with some different ideas. What do you see as an individual employee in the organization that would make the lives of your employees better? What do you see from your individual perspective that would make improve the lives of our residents? And so they go through a whole process. If you come to a council meeting, the staff puts together a council communication. They do the research, they do the recommendation, the analysis. There's a cost maybe associated with something, and what's the output. So they did that. So the department directors set up here, and we're at a Mock City Council meeting, and each of those employees through the academy comes up and presents their idea on what that looks like. And we've grabbed a lot of those ideas and pushed them forward in the organization. And great activity to enhance public speaking and just analysis and research that's required to make sure we're doing things properly. So it's very cool. Very, very proud of everybody within within the academy and all the hard work they did. And 12 months, they graduated. They're free.
Did you want to segue into the customer service training as well?
Certainly. So what's important for us as an organization, as employees, to improve what we have. Again, the goal is to take all of that and provide better service to our residents, or improve the level of service to our residents. So we also did, just a couple weeks ago, we finished that up with a citywide, all the employees went through a customer service training. So we had 5 2-hour sessions that filled this room. This is where it was held. So we're bringing in all of our employees, and we're talking about the importance of customer service. Your interactions you have with the public, and what does that mean? Making sure that you have an understanding of the person that's standing in front of you or that's on the phone with you, to make sure that we're addressing their concerns to the best of our ability. But customer service is also internal. How do we interact with the employees within the organization? If somebody in finance contacts project management, and those interactions are very, very valuable for efficiency, just for being a good person, and making sure that the projects and the activities are done as smoothly as possible. So lots of things happening to provide our employees with the tools necessary to better serve the public. So.
At the end of the day, we're here to serve, and that's what we're doing.
Yes.
And how can we do that in an efficient way, in a way that meets the needs of our residents when they need it to be met? So I'm excited about those initiatives. Yeah. Okay, we'll share a couple of projects that are going on, and then we'll invite our fire marshal to join us. We have had some comments from folks about it's M at the Lake. It's the area just adjacent to Home 2 Suites on your way into Rotary Park from the south side entrance into Rotary Park. Currently, it's a concrete area area, that the parking garage and some of that infrastructure has been there. Within the next 2 weeks, they're going to start framing that building, according to the owner. So we'll start to see that project come to fruition in that area. Buffalo Wild Wings open this week, so if you have not been out to the mall, I encourage you to go enjoy Buffalo Wild Wings. It's a locally owned store, but it has employing local people and really adding some vibrancy to the shop's area. So we encourage you to go out there and enjoy Buffalo Wild Wings. Broken Yoke Restaurant, it's a breakfast and lunch restaurant, is also in the process. They're in plan review right now. That's going to be on El Camino Way. It's in the building that was formerly El Paricio, which now El Paricio is moved across the street to their own building, but that's where Broken Yoke will be going in the future. We also have Panera Bread. We've had a pre-application meeting for Panera Bread, so that will be another new addition to the area. A restaurant over at the Riviera is forthcoming as well. That area is on state parks land, and so because of that, the state actually does all of their building approvals, but there'll be a restaurant that will be open to the public in that area. So pretty exciting stuff.
Tenant improvements happening in the downtown. That is on 2180 McCulloch. That's like a billiards and restaurant room that's coming. So if you see some work and what's happening there, so some more activity in the downtown area as well, and a few other things as we get kind of applications coming in from the public. Some really good activity that's occurring out there, and some work that's taken place. So, but yeah, Panera Bread is something that people are excited about.
Yes,
it's not Olive Garden.
Jeez, don't even say it. Yeah.
Panera Bread will be located where the same parking lot where the library is at, in the county library, right over there. So right across from Wheeler Park.
It'll be centrally located, and it'll be a new building there. So really exciting things. So there's lots of great things happening in Lake Havasu City always, and so we're excited to share with you some of those updates. But we're going to introduce our fire marshal, Nathan Adler. We have proclaimed next week, October 5th through the 11th, as Fire Protection or Fire Prevention Week here in Lake Havasu City. There's also been a rise of lithium-ion batteries within our community. So we will turn over to Nathan. We'll take questions at the end, James. But thank you and welcome.
Good morning. I want to thank the mayor and the city manager for giving me some of their time this morning to speak with you. I wanted to focus on next week is Fire Prevention Week. And so in communities large and small across the country, we've been educating the public about making sure you test smoke alarms in previous years, making sure you have an emergency evacuation plan, making sure that your fire extinguishers are readily accessible. This year, the focus is on lithium-ion battery technologies in the home. Does anybody have lithium batteries with them right now? You're right. Everyone has a cell phone or a smart device or a watch has a lithium-ion technology battery, whether it's flat, they come in different shapes and sizes. I want to make sure that we increase awareness about some of the dangers of these batteries, not to be afraid of them or to scare, but just to make sure we are aware and associated with the risks of these technologies. I liken it to compressed gas cylinders or flammable liquids, maybe a propane tank that you might go camping with, or aerosol cans of paint or solvent you have in the home. Do you keep that on the kitchen counter? No, you're probably in the garage or in a safe metal enclosure or a cabinet, because we understand the risks associated with those products. If they become damaged or if they're exposed to heat, they can have risks associated with them. So Fire Prevention Week it comes from the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire. And so for over 100 years now, every year we've been focusing on these fire safety messages and topics. And I find many folks don't understand that lithium-ion batteries, and again, not to scare you about them, but they don't understand the potential risks with them. That's because they're fantastic devices. Everybody's cell phone lasts all day. Do you remember the old cell phones? You had to charge like maybe periodically throughout the day. The batteries are so amazing now because they'll last all day. You can recharge them. They're fantastic technology and devices. But they work so well because they have so much energy in the battery itself, whether it's flat and folded behind your cell phone or your laptop, or it's in a flashlight as a round cylinder, or it's in your power tools, drills and whatnot that you might have in the garage. These type of rechargeable batteries have a tremendous amount of energy. And so we just want to associate some safe practices with those batteries that you would find commonly in your home. 3 things I want you to focus on with this campaign about rechargeable battery safety, if you will. Make sure that when you're purchasing batteries, you know how you flip the package over and you look at the backside and it'll have like all those little symbols and the small print on them? We want to make sure that we're buying batteries that have a listing or a mark from a recognized testing laboratory, that the manufacturer is going through rigorous testing on the batteries, and that maybe we're not acquiring batteries from sources that we're not aware of or where they come from. Because batteries that are being tested by the manufacturer have a very low failure rate. So we're buying the appropriate style of batteries. The second thing is we want to use the batteries as intended by the manufacturer. What does that mean? That means using the charger they provide. We don't want to mix and match chargers, or maybe we don't have a charger for the battery and we have to, this one looks like it'll work, and then we end up matching that, and what it can do is it can cause a mismatch in how the battery performs. And when we use the batteries, we want to make sure that we're actually using them and charging them in a safe space. Now, what does that mean? In common practice, it means charging devices on a flat, hard surface. You wouldn't want to charge batteries that are on maybe your couch or your sofa, falls in the cushions, or on the bed and a bunch of blankets kind of pile on top. I know sometimes I'm guilty of that when you're on the phone and it's on the bed or mattress. So we want to charge them in an appropriate place that if something were to happen, like overheating, it's not going to catch other nearby materials on fire. So just using them in a safe place. Now, they're everywhere now, these batteries. And so have you ever seen the battery maybe start to expand or puff up like a pillow? Has anybody seen that, like a battery pack for recharging your cell phone? When they do that, or they get damaged, stepped on, maybe they fall out of your pocket while you're riding a bike, or they get crushed by a shopping cart, damage to the battery can cause them to fail and fail catastrophically. So what do you do if you have a damaged battery, or a battery that won't take a charge anymore? We want to dispose of them appropriately. We want to recycle them. So part of this campaign and this education is just increasing the awareness of your options in Lake Havasu City to dispose of properly lithium-ion batteries. In order to help facilitate that, we're doing a social media campaign, and the mayor did a proclamation. We're also educating folks out through social media and the website on disposal locations. 3 of those are right here in Lake Havasu. So the big box retailers like Home Depot and Lowe's have rechargeable battery disposal bins. You can go see an associate and say, hey, I have these batteries I want to recycle, or I have these damaged batteries, and they'll take them. As well as the home office store, Staples, will take them as well. And so getting rid of those appropriately is a good thing to do, because they're everywhere. And because these batteries are everywhere, they're very safe, and their failure rate is really low. But because there's so many of them out there, we're seeing an increase in fires. So Steve has a video queued up, and I just want to start by saying that this video is spectacular in a typical firefighter fashion. There's a little bit of flames. I don't want to scare you, but I just want to show you so you can associate the risk with these rechargeable batteries and the worst case scenario. And that's just like, you wouldn't misuse aerosol cans. Propane cans. You wouldn't misuse your gasoline can. You're not bringing it in the house. We just want to respect the risk and the potential. And it's going to hit the 3 things. Again, it's going to talk about purchasing them from an appropriate location and source, using them appropriately, and also recycling them appropriately. Steve, if you would, please.
Today we're in the fire lab. We're going to be testing lithium-ion batteries. We're going to intentionally overheat them where they will catch fire and or explode. When you look around the home environment, you'll see that there's a range of battery-powered devices, something like a toothbrush or a shaver, lawn equipment, power tools, all the way up to a battery-powered vehicle. A personal shaver such as this would be powered by a single cell. Keep in mind that the amount of energy stored even in this single cell can cause fire and sparks and potentially even explode if mishandled or overcharged. If you have a larger battery pack that has dozens of cells or hundreds of cells, that can burn for a more extended period of time. We call it thermal runaway. It overpressures the cell and causes flammable gases to vent out of the cell, or it could even cause the cell to explode. To help people understand what to do and how to handle batteries safely, FSRI has developed the Take Charge campaign. The key things for people to take away from this are buy certified products, make sure that they follow the manufacturer's guidance in the charging, use, and recycling of those products. We need people to keep in mind that batteries are in products and devices they use every day, and that appropriate handling and charging of those devices will prevent fires and keep them fire safe.
I just want to make sure that we're equating the risk of these devices appropriately. Again, not to scare or to startle anyone. You don't need to run home and get rid of all your rechargeable batteries. I do know after I learned about this a couple years ago with fire investigation classes, I personally made the choice to take my rechargeable batteries and put them in a metal enclosure when I charge them and store them in the garage. Because I was like, oh man, I did not realize that these have that kind of a potential. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit and share with you some actual incidents here in Lake Havasu City because of rechargeable batteries, either because they did occur because of the battery, or we suspect it was the battery that led to the fire. One of them was a great outcome. It didn't even make the newspaper. So we had a young man come home from school and had RC car. He was home alone. He was charging the car in the garage on the workbench, doing everything he was supposed to do. He went inside. Next thing you know is a smoke alarm is going off, and there is a fire in the garage. Thankfully, this is a multifamily unit, and since 1994 in Lake Havasu City, all residential multifamilies have sprinklers in them, and so the sprinkler head in the garage activated and kept the fire contained until the firefighters showed up to fully extinguish it. Nobody was harmed. The damage was very minimal. But just for whatever reason, the battery did ignite and catch fire. We also have had incidents that we suspect are because of rechargeable batteries in the landfill and in trash trucks. You might have seen in the newspaper, there's a photo of the rubbish and the trash being dumped on the street and in the empty lots. And that's a precautionary measure because they don't want to burn up their trash truck and they want to make sure we can get to it to extinguish it. And so we suspect that because these batteries are ending up in the trash cans, they're not finding their way into a recycling center, that they sit there in these trash cans or the landfill, and if they're damaged or crushed, and they still have a charge left in them, they can actually generate enough heat to catch fire. So again, this is just an awareness. As you're walking around the channel and see the London Bridge at night, it'll be illuminated red all of next week for Fire Prevention Week in a combination with the other colors that'll be for this month. And so we're just, again, increasing that awareness. There's some pamphlets, stickers, and magnets in the back, and if you want to take a coloring book, I have some back there for you as well, maybe for the grandkids and kids. And then also, I'll be happy to take questions at the end and answer anything like that. And really appreciate your time.
Okay. We'll jump into some of that. But Nathan, could you, where can we recycle these batteries?
Yes, there are 3 locations that you can recycle them at here. And then also we're doing a special event on December 13th. That's Saturday. It's a Household Hazardous Waste Day. Mm-hmm. And I checked with the provider of that. And they are going to take damaged batteries as well as rechargeable batteries there. So Home Depot, Lowe's, Staples. If you go to the website that was on the video, you can actually search in any zip code or area code, and you can actually find those locations in your community and hear those 3. So
great information. Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you so much for being with us, Nathan. Oh, you actually go stay up. We're going to go right into questions. I'm sure the first questions are going to be yours. So,
yeah. Stay up here.
Yeah, you stay up here. You're going to be answering the question. Yeah, Allie will. So we'll start with James. Yeah, actually, we might need one more mic. Yeah, here, actually, let's take this and we'll
share.
Get another one. Yeah.
Thank you. I have one comment and a question. I'd like to encourage the city to do a general plan type process with the zoning code, because there are so many exceptions in the zoning code that makes each zone not really that zone. And then wanted to ask if you are planning to each year do a citizens training school.
Yes, so with the general plan we talked about earlier, that's the overarching planning document that then does influence the zoning code. So in your particular case, in your neighborhood, there's a classification that allows for things your neighborhood doesn't want. So in that case, I encourage you all to be involved and audit that process through. But that is part of that process. And as far as the citizen or the residents academy, yeah, we do plan to do multiple ones in a year. So yeah, this should be good. So do we have any questions specifically for the fire marshal? Okay, so we'll take those and then we'll, and Allie is going to be our microphone person today. So thank you, Allie.
Thank you for taking my question for the fire marshal. This is just a pet peeve of mine. It's become popular to build what is called barn caves, which I call mobile homes on top of a garage. And my issue with them is the single access. They're not really two-story residences. They're on the third story when you consider they're sitting on top of an RV garage. How does the code address single access to a residence at something that tall?
Great question. I appreciate that. I'm glad you saved it for when I was actually here so I could answer this question. So in the fire code, we do a fundamentals approach on is there enough water for a manual fire suppression? Is there enough access for the emergency vehicles to get there? And then we look at the overall infrastructure that's being provided during the plan review process. And that conversation starts back at even the pre-application meetings with the entire city team and the applicants. In general terms, all of that gets looked at. And depending on the height of the structures, we actually have to provide for our aerial apparatus to get along one long side so that we can get ladders to those elevated dwelling units, if you will, where the windows are. Does that answer your question?
No, I'm referring to the access. You have a single stairway going up to a residence that is essentially at the third story level. They could become trapped up there, or if they wanted to exit the residence, they only have one way to exit. And if the fire is in the garage and the stairwell enters from the garage, they have no access.
Oh, now I understand. I'm sorry, I thought you meant emergency access for us as firefighters at 2 a.m. Okay. Most of those are considered single dwelling units, and that is actually a building code part, so I'm not too keen on that plan review process. But as townhomes and single dwelling units, the protection measures are a little bit less than a traditional multifamily. But just so we're clear on most of those projects, they have residential fire sprinklers in them, and they're required to be because of their close proximity. And so the residential sprinklers are in the garages by our special amendment to the ordinance, as well as in the livable spaces of the home. And so they would basically react to the fire much quicker than we would as firefighters or the people living in them. So that helps protect the egress stairway and pathway since there's only one. Does that answer your question?
I think, Emilio, you mentioned you might have been the one that asked this during the rezoning request last Tuesday. And Jeff Tuneman, our Development Services Director, answered the question that there's access with a stairwell into the garage, and there's access on the backside of the building as well. So there is 2 access points.
As long as there's 2 access.
Yes. Yeah, he answered that at our last council meeting, I think, with your same inquiry. Yes. Any other questions specifically for the fire marshal? Yeah, Allie's bringing the microphone. And
I don't know really one battery from another, but just your regular batteries, can we throw them in the trash?
like your remote batteries for your remote control for your TV and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just the ones in a flashlight?
Right, the traditional non-rechargeable batteries,
Right.
yes, once they're depleted, we encourage them to be recycled, but they're not as a fire hazard as the rechargeable ones. And so those can go in as just normal consumer into the trash.
Yeah. But take them to Home Depot and Lowe's and Staples, yeah. It'd be fun to go to those stores. Any other questions for Nathan? Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much, Nathan, for joining us. We appreciate it. Yes, great information. Yeah, thank you. All right, so then we'll take just general questions that you have. Dave and Allie's going to be our microphone person today, so just raise your hand and come around and see you. Oh, geez.
I have 2 questions. The The empty lot on Industrial in Lake Havasu, or London Bridge Road, what's the latest on that project? Number two, how about when you put the new bridge in, will you have restrictions or wait for trucks going across the bridge?
Yeah, so I'll take the bridge question. I'm not sure about the land use on London Bridge Road, but yeah, so the bridge will be engineered and designed to allow for all of the weight that we'll need to get over onto the island. So we talked earlier about the waterfront. There is, as proposed, is a grocery of some sort. So there's going to need to be trucks that go over there to deliver the goods to that store, and it'll be engineered as such. When it comes to the land on London Bridge Road?
So the industrial London Bridge Road was purchased through a state land auction. There's a theme here. So the city we're not part of the construction. It's been zoned properly. It's entirely up to the property owner on next steps. We haven't heard anything from them. So, and sometimes what we have is we get a lot of questions from the public when it comes to like maybe a rezone that takes place that's on it. We did a rezone, or council did a rezone on Park Avenue. It was going to be kind of some, I think, some housing associated with it, maybe a restaurant. M on the Lake is right over off of the new Home to Suites, over by Rotary Park. There's other projects that have been rezoned over the last several years, and then we get the questions like, oh, so what's happening now? What's going on? Well, their property's been properly rezoned. They're now have the ability to construct on their property, but they don't have an obligation to reach out to us and tell us what's happening. So, a large part, I'm driving by, Dave, and saying, hey, I'm seeing some activity. I do know about a year plus, they were doing a lot of dirt work over there, and they ran into some type of underground power line, I believe it was, that was going right through the property that wasn't on any of the maps, and they had no idea about it until they found it. To relocate that, I know, is a very extensive and costly process, and there's been some work since then, but not nearly as much that was happening prior to that. So,
Mayor, I think maybe I misunderstood what you said, but I'm talking about the weight on the old bridge, London Bridge. Trucks should not be on that if you're going to put the new bridge in. That's what I'm trying to talk about.
Okay, gotcha, yeah. So the London Bridge is a modern day bridge, just so we know. I mean, it has the London Bridge facade on it, but all of those operational decisions on how that will occur and how the multi-use path of the new bridge, that'll all come as we get further in the process. But yeah, I understand. Thank you.
I know from the last meeting, Highway 95 and the barriers or whatever, I had the disadvantage of driving it recently at night. During the day, no problem. At night, I was shocked. The right-hand edge, nice reflective white paint. Between the lanes, nice reflective dashed lines. Left side was like camouflage. You could not see where that barrier was at night. Any chance of getting the yellow reflective paint all along that so you can follow the curves and see it at night so it at least matches the other lanes? Right now, boy, you can't tell where it was at night.
Yeah, no, great question. Yeah, we have reached out to ADOT about that. They put the reflectors at the start of each of them and the reflective paint, but to continue it on. And so, yeah, we'll follow up with them on that. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Sonia, and then we'll go to Emilio.
Back to the community on the island. Do you have a date as to when the completion of all those houses over there? And second, on the homes, and is it going to be like an HOA?
Yeah, great question. So I think it's a little early on some of those questions. What I read in the newspaper today, based on the public hearing on Wednesday, was that the development wouldn't begin until the second bridge was there. And then when it comes to the HOAs, I don't know, was that even a question at the hearing?
we're just so early. We're talking like a general plan amendment process. My assumption is that it would be an HOA, but we haven't had any of those conversations just yet.
Yeah, and it could be a few HOAs. Foothills has several of them.
Just the island, the existing residents on the island is multiple HOAs.
Yes. Yeah. Emilio?
I have a couple of questions. One question, but I'll start by a couple of comments. Concerning the general plan amendment for this new resort, you highlighted the fact that this new resort is coming in. too much emphasis is going on the proposed resort. What happened is a developer bought property at about $200,000 an acre, and once you put paper to pen and change the zoning, it'll become mixed-use property, which is about $500,000 an acre, just by a stroke of a pen. There is no guarantee that any of this development is going to go in. This is a dream. It might go in, and I think the developer, I think, said it so well. He's not going to start development until after the bridge is done. But that's 2027. It could change ownership. Economic conditions could change. There is no guarantee that anything he's proposing in those beautiful pictures is ever going to happen. We have seen developments go in on the island where they put in beautiful looking resorts, and I think this is 2-3 years ago, and it was approved, and a shovel has not taken to dirt. So for the city to sit here and expose how wonderful this development is going to be, there is no guarantee that this building is ever going to happen. The developer between now and 2027 can easily sell the property for twice what he bought it for. And the next person can do whatever he wants because he'll start the whole process again. Second comment, you said we don't have any roundabouts in town. We have one right next to the library, and it works very well. We have a roundabout. Maybe not the one we envision, yes, but not all roundabouts are the same. Now here's my question. At the last meeting, there was a big deal about the bathrooms and the concession stand. And something that got referenced, which I didn't understand. What the heck is the PED? I went to the website, and there's a lot of beautiful word salad as to what their function is, but I have no idea what the PED is, especially because at that presentation, there seemed to be some kind of relationship with the PED and Go Lake Havasu, where they were going to borrow equipment, or that payment for Go Lake Havasu comes from the PED. Are they that outfit that's over by the DMV? Are they a city staff? Who, what, and what does the PED do?
Sure. Yeah. So we'll unpack a lot of what you just said. So we'll start with the PED. So the Partnership for Economic Development is our economic development organization that started many decades ago. And what they do for you every single day, if you're going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings this weekend, you can thank the PED for the work that they did there. The Panera Bread, when you go enjoy that, you can also thank the PED for that as well. The PED is our economic development arm that goes out and does business attraction and works with our business community for retention. So they also work on economic development fronts. They were the lead agency to save the mall when the mall was going into bankruptcy and get that into new hands. They worked
Including the movie theater?
Yeah, including the movie theater. It was all at risk at one point. They were able to save that save that property and get it redeveloped to what it is today, which now has the new surgery center that's out there. It has the omni-channel retailer out there. It has Buffalo Wild Wings. It has some additional elements there.
Helped with Aloe?
Oh yeah, Aloe was a big item that they did from the very beginning. So all of us that are enjoying Aloe at our homes or businesses, that was one of their wins. So economic development is what they do, and they do two areas. They do business attraction and business retention, and they also work on some workforce as well. They were instrumental in a housing study. So there's lots of things that they do. They're under contract with the city. We have a contract with them to do our economic development services on that front, and they do a fantastic job for us. As far as the relationship between Go Lake Havasu and the PED, they do office in the same area, so there is a relationship from that perspective. They are, the PED specifically, alluding to your comments from the last council meeting, they plan to stock the storage area of the multi-use building with event equipment. So that would be fencing, that would be cones, that would be the things, stage, mobile stage, all of the things you would need to run events on that site. They would gift that to the city, and the city would, if somebody applied to rent that out for an event, they would have access to those through the city. So that's those two questions. The other comments I don't know that I agree with. I've used the word waterfront all day. I have not once said resort. That has not even come out of my mouth today. So what I have said throughout the conversation today is I literally was telling you the news. There was a hearing on the first. This is what's happening. We're at the early stages and giving you all of the components. When it comes to your comments about this is just a pretty picture, it's pie in the sky, it could change, it could sell. Yeah, those are all very true with every property anywhere in our community. But the assurances that the council and the citizens and the city would have is where it would be a planned development as originally discussed. So all of the things that are being discussed in the very early stages that we're sharing the news with you is it's a planned development. A planned development will be exactly what is approved. So if the building is here and that's the hotel, and if a house is here and a restaurant is there, that's what will happen. If it's not going to happen, you have to go through a public process to change that. You'd have to go through planning and zoning, and you'd have to go through city council for approval to change that. So if this is successful and the final plan development is approved through the city council process that we talked about, that we'll be talking about over the next 90 days because of the public hearings, we can be assured that that's what's going to occur if anything is going to occur on that property. But as just mentioned earlier to Dave's question, there is not, they don't have to do that. That's all they can do once it's approved. Then they'll fill out the application for building permits and they'll be able to proceed from there. But our whole intent of this gathering is to hear your feedback, answer questions, get seeds planted from what's important on your mind and tell you the news. So those were your words, not mine, and that is the process in which is occurring in that area. So are there any additional? Yeah, perfect.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sandy, and I'm with Mojave College. I just want to give an announcement that this fall we have about a dozen new classes for our senior learners for our fun classes. I have put catalogs out there. We're also doing a free event, Pumpkin Fest. It's October 17th. Bring your grandkids. There's carnival games, a bounce house, a petting zoo, food trucks, you name it, we've got it there. It's free to the community with everything except for the vendors, the food vendors. But come and enjoy the night. It starts at 5:30, it's over at 7:30, trick-or-treating and trunk-or-treats. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Everybody aware of the recent rebranding? We've been saying MCC, Mojave Community College, for a long time. And now it's Mojave College.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap up. We have a couple things we want to tell you about in the month of October. We have Concerts in the Park are back, so really exciting. Starting this evening, we have Top Shelf, which is classic rock. Next Friday is Kevin Jackson and the Midnight Sun, Rhythm and Blues. October 17th is Good Heart, which is classic rock, folk rock, southern rock, country, blues, and R&B. And then on October 24th, we have the Swamp Donkey, which is blues, Cajun, classic rock, country, and reggae. These are all at London Bridge Beach. The admission, of course, is free, and it starts at 6 p.m. So again, tonight is the first one with Top Shelf, which is a classic rock band at London Bridge Beach. So, and then we'll end with some fun facts. We'll stay on the fire side of things. So with the history of the FPW is since 1922, they have sponsored a public observance of Fire Prevention Week, FPW's Fire Prevention Week. In 1925, President Calvin Coolidge proclaimed Fire Prevention Week as a national observance, making it the longest running public health observance in our country. During the Fire Prevention Week, children, adults, and teachers learn how to stay safe in case of a fire. And firefighters provide life-saving public education in an effort to drastically decrease the casualties caused by fire. So Fire Prevention Week is observed each year during the week of October 9th in commemoration of the Great Chicago Fire, which began on October 8th of 1871 and caused devastating damage. That incident killed more than 250 people, left 100,000 people homeless, and destroyed more than 17,400 structures and burned more than 2,000 acres of land. Imagine this is Chicago, so just think of Chicago, in 1871. Those numbers. I mean, that's shocking. So, and then of course, the quiz from our fire marshal, what do we got to do? We have to recycle our batteries. We're at one of the three locations in Lake Havasu, Home Depot, Lowe's, or Staples. We're going to charge our devices safely. And we're also going to put it on flat, hard surfaces. And we're going to make sure that it's from an approved retailer, that it has that on the back of the battery package. You're going to see those things. So those are our fun facts. Again, thank you to our special guest, Nathan Adler, our fire marshal, for joining us. Thank you to all of you for joining us. Thank you, Jess. And we'll see you next month for Coffee with the Mayor and City Manager. Have a good day.
Thank you.